Hey guys, it's Walk, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about Mind Twist. Yep, got another card from Legacy, from the ban list, gonna be looking at it. This thing has, I think its reputation precedes it. I don't think that's too much to say. So let's get into it. First, if you never played this card, what you need to know is it needs a lot of mana to work. Obviously, it's an X spell, so we're gonna need to put, well, a lot of mana into it. And fast. Obviously, Legacy is a quick format, so we can't just be making land drops and trying to twist their hand away on turn 5 or something. That's not gonna work. So there's lots of different things. Basically, there's the artifact mana, soul land kind of thing, Grim plus key of some sort, or you have the elves and stuff, and/or Guy's Cradle, that route. And of course, the elf decks typically splash black, so Mind Twist might even be welcome there. And then, of course, Dark Ritual. Anything that plays Dark Ritual would probably at least consider Mind Twist. Yeah, the unlikely thing, sort of the X factor here, would be if there was any Chalice decks, any Soul Land decks that would want to play Mind Twist. Typically not, um, because, well, they just don't play black. It's not a lot of reasons to be black, but, I guess it is possible. But I think something like Mind Twist only exacerbates a lot of the problems with these Chalice Soul Land style decks, is that they are inconsistent and can draw poorly, can rip bad cards off the top just at a bad time. Obviously, Mind Twist certainly exemplifies that. So yeah, basically anything that produces a lot of mana probably wants to play it, or at least I should say has the ability to play it. So yep. But there are a lot of other discard spells to see play these days, and these are the the one mana discard spells. The Dress, Thoughtseize, and Cabal Therapy, and then sometimes Inquisition too. But not being able to hit stuff like Tendrils, Sneak and Show, or Sneak Attack from Sneak and Show, ad nauseum, stuff like that can be a problem. Um, yeah, Cabal Therapy itself is actually pretty similar to Mind Twist, uh, but with a much larger number of decks you can play it. Anything that plays a bunch of creatures or any sort of graveyard-based deck loves Cabal Therapy. Therapy is basically like a Mind Twist, but for 1 mana, and only when you cast it. The flashback is free, and you can hit multiple cards. So you're hitting like the cards you want to hit already, the cards that might make you lose. Um, you can use it to clear the way for whatever spell you name, like Force of Will or something like that, Spell Pierce, stuff like that. Um, I mean, you can even use it to sack, so like sack and stuff to get bridge triggers. Pretty good, pretty good. So there's lots of good things, and so Cabal Therapy already kind of acts like a Mind Twist that's much easier to resolve, much easier to find decks you want to play it in, and it obviously still does the same job as just being a 1 mana discard spell. I mean, sure, you can whiff with it, but it's one of the cards that actually rewards you for being a better player, paying more attention to things. Um, so that's always good. That's always good. Yeah, but Legacy and just Magic in general, the last 20 plus years has been a slow sort of change from like everything being about like card advantage, like being really heavily based on card advantage, to where now it's not something that most decks can really do, because those tend to be the card advantage engines tend to be a lot slower, a little bit dirtier, more disruptible, um, and so it takes a while, to get those online compared to like, your sort of cantrip style fueled decks, which basically every blue deck, will play those. Um, the only other decks that really play like card advantage stuff are like random decks, playing stuff like Limps, um, and Elves, things like that, where it's like, oh, you have this specialized like card drawing engine or card advantage or tutor engine, but you need to do certain things to make it work. So yeah, the game has gotten just fast enough to the point where just being about like getting cards is not the most important thing. Um, so yeah, uh, there aren't a ton of decks that really sit around with a bunch of cards in their hand anyways. And the problem with mass discard is that the blue decks typically can draw out of it pretty fast with brainstorm, ponder, and preordain and other cheap cantrips. Not, of course, that twist is bad if you can resolve it in a timely fashion. It's just pretty ungainly, unwieldy, and maybe not as effective as one would think at first glance. In case you didn't know, regardless of that wording on the card, the actual wording on it says target player, so you can actually get you can actually get it misdirected back at you, which is pretty brutal. So this has another layer to it. So like if it was ever say too good, humor me, but if it was ever too good, there is counterplay and things like divert and misdirection. Divert, of course, is an enormous blowout, um, and pretty hilarious too. That's a pretty good spell. And obviously, misdirection always means that it's never good to just try and even if they're tapped out, never good to just try and hold that up. And these cards are actually not bad regardless, because in counter wars and stuff, they're pretty good there. So yeah, yep. So there's all sorts of things that are sort of conspiring in a lot of different ways to make Mind Twist not as good as it once was. And of course, certainly the lack of, well, this doesn't really need to be said, but no Soul Rings, Black Lotus, Mox, and Mana Crypt, so on and so forth, right? Like none of those obviously makes it a lot worse. Um, so that's, I mean, that's also something to consider too. So if you ask me, should it be unbanned? Well, what do you think? This card is not scary anymore. People that say are scary are just the same people that told me Black Vice is going to take over everything, and then also Land Tax is also going to take over everything, and War Gorger Dragon was going to. I mean, you get the picture, right? Like these are not smart people that say these things. They're pretty dumb. Pretty dumb. I mean, I don't want to be too unfair. I'm being a little catty, but it's not like these cards saw play in a much different world. And that's the game has changed a lot. Since the last time a lot of these cards were legal, and Mind Twist is certainly one of the most obvious cases of that. So yeah, it's a big different place, before, when you had control decks being able to play or actual original Moxen, which totally changes the nature of the game. So, yeah, it's not scary. I mean, there's just too many. And decks are so much more consistent now. The card quality is a lot more even throughout. So, like, taking a couple good cards from the hand doesn't mean they're going to be drawing, like, really subpar cards. Like, typically everything is good, right? I mean, there are obviously, like, synergy decks that are sometimes, where that's not always the case. But yeah, no one's scared. Let's just have our cake, you too, or something. I don't know what the idiom. Look, I'm not good with these things. But we should let the people that want to play with Mind Twist. We should let them play with it. Dang it. So yep, that's it for today, guys. So thanks for stopping by. I hope you'd enjoy this. This is a little short, but there's not much to say. So thanks for stopping by, and have a great day.